Hey guys, I'm Josh from Layzee. Thanks for tuning in. We're saving the world one trailer at a time. Today we're going to do an orientation, so not a sales video, it's an orientation on the Eagle fifth wheels. We're doing these so that customers who've done orientations in the past can look back at a video and kind of refer and help them remember what they were taught the day of the orientation. We're doing these for customers that aren't able to come for an orientation. Maybe they're out in BC or in Newfoundland and they can't come in person to do an orientation. And then we're also doing this for customers who are looking at getting into an Eagle travel trailer or fifth wheel and want to know how to operate it, how to maintain it ahead of time before they make the actual purchase. A couple of problems with these videos: they're going to be boring, they're long, they're tedious, repetitive in a lot of cases. I'm not offended if you want to just click through to certain components or just skip through the whole thing, whatever you want to do. The other negative on these is that they make changes often. So, you know, they sometimes make changes halfway through the year, at the model year change, 3 months into the year, and that kind of messes up with how everything works. But we're going to make this as accurate as we can at the time of filming. It's a little drizzly out today, but we're going to start outside, and then we're going to work our way inside and show you how everything works. See you soon. Hey guys, we're going to do the orientation here on this Eagle fifth wheel. We're going to start on the outside, and we're going to take our time. Awesome, right up front here, we've got some nice lights. Those lights are controlled by these switches underneath the gooseneck right here. All right, so some of those are hard to find or, you know, that kind of thing, but they're right here underneath the gooseneck. This pin box on this Eagle is just a standard pin box. Fifth wheel hitch comes in, locks into place. There's nothing moving on this one, nothing like that. Eagle has an optional more ride pin box, which shifts 3 inches front to back. That, again, will just operate normal. And they have a Reese Revolution pin box. And what the Reese Revolution does, it operates like the Turning Point hitch by Lipper. Basically, there's on the Reese Revolution, not on this one, the Reese Revolution, there's a block that gets bolted onto here, locks the pin in place, and then there's 2 bolts here at the back that get unlocked, and they let the fifth wheel pin box rotate at the back. Locked in place here, rotating at the back. On a standard pin box, which is what we're looking at right now, the pin and the hitch is going to rotate right here. Right on. With a 6.5 foot box, you would need a manual sliding hitch or an auto sliding hitch of some kind. For a 5.5 foot box, you need a 21-inch auto slide hitch, or you get a Reese Revolution that's up there. Inside here, looks like a rougher storage. There's really nothing to talk about for an orientation perspective. Here's our battery location. Layzee is going to provide a battery. It's going to strap down in here for you. Red is positive, black is negative. You don't have to worry about disconnecting this battery when you're not using the trailer, because there is a battery disconnect switch inside. We'll talk about that. Just not inside, but in the front storage. But for the winter, you need to remove your battery and bring it inside. If you don't, your battery will freeze and will not be any good come springtime. So take your battery out for the winter. Don't put it on a concrete floor to store it inside somewhere. Otherwise, your battery will be bad come springtime. Here is our electric jacks. Up and down for those, nice and easy. There is a breaker that you can kick if you extend those jacks too far or you retract them up too far. That'll automatically reset for you. So if they're not working, just try it again in a couple minutes. That breaker should reset for you. Right on. Right here is our propane tanks. Should be 230s. And it's a nice dark day here, so we're actually going to be able to see this red line here we're talking about. So basically what happens is whichever tank this tank is pointing at is the tank that is drawing off of. When this tank goes empty, this line turns red, like it is right now, and it'll automatically start drawing off of this tank for you. What you can do is when you know this tank's empty, you take the switch, flip it over the other side, take that tank off, and get it filled. Bring it back, hook it back up. Then when this tank goes empty a week or so later, it's going to automatically start drawing off of this tank, but this tank has propane, right? And it's going to turn red again. Then you're going to flip it over to this side, and this red light will go away, and you can take this tank off and get it filled. So just back and forth like that. I know it's a little bit confusing the way I'm saying it, but I don't know a better way of saying it. So basically, whatever tank this switch is pointing off is the tank it's drawing off of. When it goes empty, it will flip over to the other side automatically. Right on. While we're here, we have 50 amp service on this model. Some of these Eagles will be 30 amps, but this one is 50. So I've got just a little cheater cord here, adapted it's down to 15 amps so I can plug it into the shop here. But this is actually the cord that's going to come with the trailer. You can see it's an anaconda of a cord. I think it's about 30 feet long. Anyways, this part right here is what plugs into the side of the trailer. Then you're going to unroll this, and this is the part. This is the end of the cord there. So this will plug into the post. Now sometimes when you go to a site, you're not going to have 50 amp service, right? So you're going to need to get yourself an adapter to adapt down to whatever service you're using. So if it's 30 amp at the park, you have an adapter to adapt down to 30 amp service. Okay. Now, when you're on 30 amps, you can't use two ACs. Some of these Eagles, not this one, but some of these Eagles will have two ACs. And to use both ACs, you have to be on 50 amps. If you're just using one AC, you can operate with 30 like that. Now, if you go to a site or you're plugged into your home and it's only 15 amps, there's another adapter for that. All right. So you just adapt down to 15 amps. Now, when you're on 15 amps, you can't run your AC or your electric water heater. You can operate everything else, but not those two items. Hopefully that was clear. Just around the side here, there's a battery disconnect. There'll be different locations on different floor plans. But instead of physically disconnecting the battery, you can just flip that switch there and disconnect your battery. The reason you do that is if you're just leaving this in the storage yard for 2 weeks, you don't want your battery to go dead in the meantime, you flip that switch. If it's just in the driveway, not plugged in, flip that switch. But like I said, for the winter, you pull the battery right inside. So just some lights in here. Motion sensitive lights. I'll show you how those work on the inside. Here is our solar prep right there. So you can have a panel on the ground, run the cord right into here, plug it in there. What that's going to do for you is charge your battery up for you while you're dry camping. Okay, so it's just a little black piece with two ends on it like that. Okay, then we have our outside shower. So this is just hot and cold up in here. Okay, there's a blue slinky-like hose that pushes in. It's kind of like an air fitting, has a little sleeve on it. And now you have hot and cold coming out of this hose here. Okay. To release it, you push the sleeve back, pull it. Then we have your bypass for your water heater. We're going to do a specific video on winterizing later, but if you're winterizing it for yourself, this is an easy way to bypass the water heater there. Like I said, guys, my opinion on winterizing is that you just pay someone to do it. I would pay the 80, 90, 100 bucks to get someone to do it, and then you know it's done proper. But if you want to do it yourself, you can just bypass the water heater right there. This guy right here, this black fitting, is to flush out the black water tank. So that's called a tank flush. So you'd hook up a garden hose right to here and turn the water on, and that's going to spray down the inside of your black water tank. You never would do this if your black water gate valve is not open. Your black water gate valve has to be open first, and then you hook up the water and turn on the flush kit. All right. Also here we have two more fittings. This is your city water connection right here. So if you have water at the site, you're going to bring it up through this hole here, hook it up into here, and turn on your water. Now that you've turned water on, you'll have water in your taps. Whatever pressure you have on the hose is going to be pressure on the taps. So most people use what's called a pressure regulator, bringing that down below 60 psi, because the lines are only good for 60 psi, or rated for 60 psi. So you should have a pressure regulator on your hose all the time, regulating that down when you're hooking up to the city water. When you want to fill your freshwater tank, all right, you would hook up a hose here, have this valve up or to the left, and then this one down. All right, that's going to power fill your freshwater tank for you. Then if you are going to dry camp, so this is all labeled right here, so you can just read this. It tells you which way to have these valves for each thing you're doing. But if you're going to dry camp, so if you don't have water at the site, you're going to turn your water pump on, pump for the fresh water. You're going to turn this one down and this one over to the side. It says dry camp, and then it gives you a display of how to do that. Then, if you are going to winterize for yourself, that's what this hose is for. Okay, so you hook up a garden hose into here, put that hose into a jug of antifreeze, turn the water pump on, and it's going to pump antifreeze into the system. Now there's a few more steps in there, but that's what that fitting is for, and you would have your valves pointing to the left and to the right like that. Okay, this switch right here is to turn on your water pump out here, so that's specifically for winterizing, because if you're actually dry camping, there's another water pump switch inside the trailer. Basically, have a look at this legend here and position those valves how you want to use the trailer. So if you want to use city water, you hook up a hose to here, valve this way, valve that way, just like it says right there. Great. All the gate valves are right here built into the convenience center, I guess we'd call that. And then the drainage for the black water, or for the sewer, is right below. So you would have a hose on this model, twist it on, ready to go, and let's say you have sewer at the site. The hose is going to go right down. You would leave your gray waters open, okay? Because your sink water, your shower water, those kind of things can run out as they build up. You would never leave your black water open if you have sewer at the site. You leave that closed, you let the solids and the liquids build up together. When the tank is full or the weekend's over, you come back here, close your grays, and then open up your black. All that black water, that toilet water, is going to flush out all at once. If you ever leave your black water open, what's going to happen is the liquids will run out of the bottom of the tank and the solids will build up. And eventually they'll get up right up to your right up to the pipe itself, and it'll cause a blockage. So always leave your black water closed until you're ready to drain your tank. Now, when you're draining your tank, your black water, you've pulled the valve out, then you can take your city water connection and hook up to your black water flush, which is this guy right here, and that's going to spray down the inside of your tank. Again, you have to have your black water open to hook up your black water flush. Now, if you're at a site that doesn't have sewer, you're just going to go to a dumping station on the way out or on the way home, and what you do there, you obviously have all the gate valves closed because you don't have sewer at the site. You go to the dumping station, bring the hose into the dumping hole. You're going to pull your gray waters first, let those drain, then you're going to come out here, pull your black water. After you've closed your gray water, let those run out, and then hook up your black water flush to spray down the inside of the tank. Great. There is a light in here too. Probably would be helpful if I turn that on so you would have been able to see, but whichever. All right. Come down this way. We're going to skip the tires until the other side. The jacks on the back of this one are electric. So there's a switch there on the other side, but there's also a manual override on this side, and that's what this little spigot down there is for. Okay. If your Eagle has auto leveling, that doesn't apply. Or if your Eagle has manual jacks in the back, that doesn't apply. Manual jacks you just bring up and down with a crank. Auto leveling, you just push the auto level button. Electric jacks, if you ever have a battery issue, you can bring those up manually right there. You have to be up on your roof checking your seals every 90 days. I'm going to do a roof maintenance video later on. You can look at that, but you have to be up there checking your seals every 90 days religiously. If you don't check your seals and a year and a half later your trailer starts to leak, that's not a warranty thing, right? That's a maintenance thing. You have to be up there and checking your seals. You also have to be up on the roof sweeping off your slides so that there's no debris get jammed up in there. This specific Eagle has slide toppers, so it's less of a concern, but Eagles without slide toppers, you have to make sure you're sweeping off those slides so that nothing gets jammed in there in the seals. At the back here, we have a hitch that is rated for 300 pounds tongue weight or 3,000 pounds pulling. It does have wiring built in. In Ontario, you have to be less than 75 feet. Overall, so just take that into consideration, and obviously this vehicle back here has to be less than 3,000 pounds. Great. Coming down the side here, this is just our switch for our electric jacks. Up and down, nice and easy. The manual override, like I was saying, is on the other side. Now what's going to happen with these jacks is they're going to come down together, so you're going to push the extend button, they're going to come down together. Whatever side touches first is going to stop. The other side is going to continue down. Once they both feel pressure, then they're going to lift up like so. They're going to lift up evenly. These are not leveling jacks. These are stabilizer jacks. Okay, this is different from auto leveling. This is electric stabilizer. So all they do is stabilize the trailer. So you have to level the trailer side to side and front to back first. The way you do that is you back onto the site. Let's say you're low on this side. You're going to pull ahead, put a piece of 2x6 down, and then back up again and drive up on that piece of 2x6, leveling it side to side first. Then you're going to take the truck off, disconnect the truck, get the truck out of the way, level front to back, and then once you're level side to side, front to back, then you can bring down your electric stabilizer jacks. That's how they work. They're not for lifting or leveling. Great. The fridge here is pretty simple. Okay, just an on-off, not on-off switch. It's a temperature control inside there. Then we have like a grill right here. Every time you go to hook up, like or use this, you have to hook up your quick connect fitting down below. So much like the outside shower, just a little air fitting kind of deal. Basically, it hooks up right here. Okay, and then just Josh, come on, buddy. Alright, made that look harder than it is. And then another fitting here underneath the trailer. You have to have the valve in the off position, so against the hose, and then hook it up just like I did in this top one. Okay? Yeah, so every time you pull out this drawer, you have to hook this up. Do that a couple times, you'll make it look easier than I did. Great. We have a TV outside here. That's pretty self-explanatory. Outside speakers, you turn those on and off from the inside on the radio. Fridge vent, furnace vent, just don't touch those two things. Outside receptacle, nothing really to do here. Just if your GFI is kicked on the inside of the trailer, this isn't going to be working. Here we have our tires. Right on the side of the tire, they say they're rated for 80 psi, so keep those at 80 psi. Keep them right up to pressure. They are nitro fill, so you can go to Canadian Tire, put nitrogen in, or if you don't have that, you can just top those up with air. The idea is with nitrogen, you're supposed to not have to top it up as often, and you're not supposed to change the like there's no temperature variance there. So you drive the trailer from here down to Florida, you shouldn't have a variation in the pressure. The lug nuts themselves are torqued down to 110 foot-pounds. When you get the trailer home, you should torque those down. In behind this cap right here, there's another black rubber cap. You pull that cap out, and there's a grease nipple there, so you can grease your bearings. You would grease your bearings at 6,000 miles, and I mean you put a shot of grease in at 6,000 miles, and then at 12,000 miles, you have to pay for someone, or you can do it yourself, to repack those bearings. So 6,000 miles, you grease. 12,000 miles, you repack. The suspension here, there's no real maintenance on that. This is your water heater. Unless you're winterizing the trailer yourself, you do not touch this. If you winterize the trailer, you would pull this plug out, okay, to drain out the water out of your water heater. But otherwise, you're not touching this valve, nothing like that. You're just leaving this all alone in this model. All right, that blue slinky hose that we showed you there for the outside shower, that's the same hose here that works on your spray port, except it's just cold water coming out of this one. These stairs here are new, they're an option. The standard is that you have just the fold-up stairs underneath. That's pretty easy. On those stairs, you should lubricate them so that they don't get stiff over time. These stairs, though, there's nothing to lubricate. They just fold in nice and easy. Now, if you go to a site with uneven ground, let's say it's lower here than it is over there, you may have to adjust these legs. And what I mean by that is you have to pull the pin out, adjust the leg down, and then put the pin back in. Okay? So you may have to deal with that. Now, how many holes I got? The other thing I've seen happen is if you have these legs extended too far, you bring this down, and then the door scrapes on the stair here. So that's if you have those legs extended too far, the stairs up too far, and it's scratching here. So just keep that in mind. Always don't just slam the door first time, right? Check that, make sure it's not sitting too high. There's a light down here to light up your stairs at nighttime. Just the other side of our pass-through storage. There's lights in here. The receptacle. Oh, that's pretty easy. Okay. Let's run the awning out. Stop in here. We'll talk with this here in a second. So basically, it comes out all the way. You know when to stop because the valance will be hanging at 90 degrees. You'll see here what I'm saying in a second. There's just an extra piece of fabric, about 6 inches long, that will just hang down below. So there. So see that extra piece of fabric? That should be hanging at about 90 degrees, which it is right now. There's lights in here. You can turn those off from inside on the control panel there. This awning is not meant to be left out in a really, really rainy situation. It's just a little drizzly today, so that's fine. A little more rain is fine, but once you get to like a torrential downpour, put your awning away. If it's windy at all, put your awning away. If you break your awning due to wind or rain, that's not a warranty thing, so make sure you put that away. Right on, guys. So it took me a second here to figure out this hardware, so sorry about that. And for your average person, including myself, it'd be nice to have a step stool here to get up on to reach this lever. But basically, if you want to create pitch, if you want to lower one side over the other, you have to unlock this knuckle right here, and you don't pull on it, you push on it. Okay? So I pushed it, I released it, now I can just pull this down. Okay? And I've created a little bit of pitch to this side over the other side. Alright? Like I said, this is easier if I had a step stool, but then when I go to put the awning back up, I'm going to compress this knuckle and push it in place like so. Okay, so those are your two settings. Up all the way or down about 3 inches, creating slope. You can do it to either side. I'm on my tippy toes now, so like I said, it'd be nice to have a step stool for that. One thing I forgot in the convenience center is your cable and satellite hookup, so let's walk right on the unit again. Have a look at that. Here is your cable and satellite. I just didn't even look at it, so sorry. So if you have cable at the site, you're going to bring the coax in, plug it into there. That's going to split out all your TV locations. If you have satellite, so you hook up your own satellite on the site, they're going to hook up directly to satellite, and that feed is going to come out to your main TV. If you want your satellite feed to come out to the bedroom TV, you hook up to auxiliary. That's what that one's for right there. Okay. Great. That was the outside, guys. Let's do some stuff inside now. One thing before we get inside, guys, I forgot to say again, is your low point drain for your freshwater tank. So with the slide closed, this is obviously easier, but there's a drain right there, that white drain. You have to turn that 90 degrees, and that is going to drain your freshwater tank for you. Okay? It's also labeled on the side of the trailer with this sticker right here. So it's right in line with the sticker. Okay? Different on every model. Let's look inside now. Alright guys, let's do some inside stuff on this Eagle orientation. Get my gloves off, it's not that cold. Let's start with your safety things. So we have a fire extinguisher down here, and then right beside that, and these are going to be different locations and different floor plans, we have a carbon monoxide and propane detector. Propane sinks, so that's near the floor. That one right there is plumbed right into the unit itself, so if your battery in the front of the trailer gets low, that's going to start beeping once every 30 seconds. It's one of the things that slowly go draw down your battery, which is why we flip the switch and disconnect it. This guy right over here has a smoke alarm, or is the smoke alarm. This has its own 9-volt battery. So it's not plumbed into the trailer at all, but if that 9-volt battery in here gets low, it's going to start beeping once every 30 seconds as well. Great. While we're at the back of the trailer here, a lot of these Eagles will have a fireplace. This one's pretty easy to operate. You have an on-off button, you have a timer, and you have flame selection and temperature selection. Okay, that one's pretty easy to operate. Here we have just some storage. We have a DVD player here as well. So I'll let you play around with that as much as you want. Just turn that down for you guys. You have a zone 1 and a zone 2, so that'll be inside and outside. That'll be on this right here. Yeah, there is no zone 3. You have HDMI in, so if you have some kind of like Xbox or Apple TV, you can play with that. You also have another HDMI ref, the TV itself, on this one. You can dig around that too. You got auxiliary, headphones. I'll let you play around with that as much as you want. Cool. There is some storage in behind this TV, and that's usually where your coax fittings are. And they are on this model too. So look here, cameraman. Right there. So you have one that's for cable, and then one that's for satellite. So if you are running satellite in on the outside where I showed you, it's going to come out here in the satellite location. Then you're going to go from the satellite location to your satellite receiver, and then from the receiver to the TV. If you're just using cable into the unit, you're just going to leave it hooked up on cable here. There's also a TV antenna on this model. So if you push this button in, there's a green light that lights up, boosting your satellite. If you have this booster on and you're trying to watch cable, it's not going to work right. So have the booster off if you're using cable and on if you're using the antenna. And that's that little switch right there for the booster. Okay? Great. Okay. The TVs will be on arms, so they don't have to be pushed all the way back and locked into place. With your propane appliances, you always light your stove top first before you try to light anything else. So we'll do that now. I put a propane tank on with propane. Why do we light this first? We light this first because it gets rid of the air out of the lines and makes sure there's propane at each appliance. So we turn this to light. I can hear the gas come through, and now I spark it. Now I know I have propane. I know I'm good to go. The oven is a little more difficult, but it still has a sparker. So you open this up, turn the knob to the first little flame here, and then hold that in. As you hold that in, you spark it. Now the gas line to the pilot on this is very small, so often there is some air in the lines, and it takes a little bit to get rid of that. Let's see there if it's lit. Yeah. So it did light, but often this will take a couple minutes, right? So you're sitting here sparking for a couple minutes. So I hold this button in for about, half a minute, that kind of thing. Then I let it out. Then I turn it to whatever temperature I want. Okay? And you can hear the flame now, but you'll see there's a flame that covers the whole burner there. Okay. Now if I know I'm going to use my oven a few times during the weekend, I'll leave it on pilot. If I'm only going to use it once, I'll just shut the oven off. When you're using your stovetop, you should be using the fan on your stovetop, venting that stuff outside. Microwave is a microwave. I'll let you play around with that. No big deal. Oh yes, we have dimmers on these Eagles, and we've had some people have some confusion with those. So this dimmer here controls this light. So to turn that light on or off, you just touch the dimmer switch. Now if you want to dim it, all you do is you hold on the switch. See how it gets lower and lower? Now it'll start getting brighter, all the way till it gets bright, and then it'll get lower, lower, lower. So all I'm doing is I'm holding. I'm not doing anything up and down on here. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just keeping my finger on the switch, and it'll dim, and then it'll go back up. Awesome. I know it seems simple, but we've had some confusion on that. Okay, right here is our control panel. So this has all of the switches and major kind of things here. So we've already run the awning in or out. Extend, retract, that's easy. We also have slides here in this model. Extend, retract. When they're all the way out, they're going to make like a clutching noise. Okay. When it comes all the way in, it'll make that same noise, letting you know the slide's all the way in or out. You have outside lights. That's for your awning. You have a water pump switch right here. That's labeled water pump. So you use that water pump switch if you have water in the freshwater tank. If you have water at the site, like you have water right to the city water connection, you do not touch the water pump. The water pump is only if you're using the freshwater tank. Then we have an electric water heater and a gas water heater. Nice and easy to flip those on. Don't try to light your gas water heater unless you've lit your stovetop first. But we just turn that on. The switch itself lights up, letting you know you have gas. Now come around here, get a look at this, cameraman, sorry. There's a light above the switch. If the water heater fails to light, that light will light up. Okay, that's how you know your water heater's not working. Now the electric water heater's simple, yet it's more dangerous, or you can do something wrong with it. If you turn on your electric water heater and you don't have water in the tank, I don't have water in the tank right now, so if I turn this on, I'm going to eventually blow the element. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes, but you'll blow the element. So always make sure you have water in the water heater tank before you turn the electric one on. That's important. The way I would check is I would run water through taps, right? Make sure we have water at the taps, and then come here and turn on your gas water heater. Come back an hour later after that, after the gas water heater's come up to temperature, turn on your hot water tap. If you have consistent hot water coming out, you know you have water in the tank because it's hot water coming out of the tank. And then you can feel comfortable in turning on your electric water heater. Also up here, we have your monitor tank, or your monitor panel, so you can check the levels of each tank. H2O means fresh water, gray and black are your 2 gray water tanks. Sorry, gray 1, gray 2 are your 2 gray water tanks, and then black water is your toilet tank. The black water will lie to you. You'll swear you just dump the tank and you come back in here and the water heater will, the black water monitor will read 2/3 full, right? But we know the tank's empty. That's just because there's some debris on a sensor, that kind of thing. So the black water is not very reliable, but the other sensors will be reliable. Great. So that's that up in there. Then we have our thermostat right here. So this bottom button here is to go through the modes. Okay, so I'm just keep putting that through all the modes and then off. The up and down buttons are to adjust your temperature. But let's go to the first mode. First mode is fan. Okay, and that is the fan on the AC. It's set on low right now. So there's our fan. If I push this again, it will go to high. Right? Fan high. Then it'll go cool high. So that is AC on high. And I can adjust my temperature to whatever I want within the AC there. Push it again, cool low. Push it again, cool auto. Okay? Which is going to automatically adjust the fan on the AC when the AC is running. Push it again. I come to heat. Heat is just the furnace. This does not control your fireplace, it just controls the furnace. Right now I'm below 45 degrees in this model, so the AC shut off and the furnace kicked on. I can adjust temperature from there. You can play around with that, no big deal. I push this mode again and it should go to off. So it'll go fan, cool, heat, off. Those are your 4 options there, and you can play up and down with the up and down switches for temperature within that. Great, good point, cameraman. We have our breakers and our fuses here. Breakers are across the bottom, fuses are across the top. This is how a 50 amp converter looks. A 30 amp one will look a little different than this, but the same idea, breakers and fuses. The breakers are all labeled, as well as the fuses, okay, in this 2 spots right here. Each fuse will actually have a red light beside it if the fuse blows. So if I take this fuse out, or this fuse blows right now, there's a red light right below it that's going to light up, letting you know that's the fuse that's dinged. Okay? Right. So if you have an electrical problem, that's most likely where it is. I pulled out this crank handle here, put it on the bed just so I wouldn't forget. This is the handle to manually bring up or down your electric jacks in the back. Alright, good. Let's look here at the washroom. By the way, guys, we're in the 255 Are You Okay? I did a video on this one, sales related, if you want to see that. But the toilet here, the key is that you leave water in the toilet bowl. That's going to keep the odor down into the tank. If you have a dry toilet bowl, just a little bit of water there, there's going to be odor coming up through the tank. So always leave a couple inches in the bowl itself. When you're traveling, though, you can't really do that because it's going to splash all over the place. So you should leave the vent open on the roof. And then you just crank that up and play with that. But if you have a max air on your trailer, you can leave your vent open on the roof while you're driving. If you don't have a max air on your trailer, you should get one. This is the GFI we were talking about. So if your outside receptacle is not working, that's because that GFI is kicked. Actually, right now it is kicked. See how the red light there? That means that the GFI is kicked. Okay, let's go down to the kitchen again. I forgot to talk about the fridge, so we'll do that. And I think that's it in the trailer. Am I right, cameraman? Fridge and that's it? Okay, great. So, fridge is fairly simple. You just have 3 switches. The one on the right is control the temperature, so that's pretty obvious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 2 on the left here are the far left is to turn the fridge on. So you push the button in to turn the fridge on, and then the other button is to select what fuel you want to use. So right now I have on auto. See how that light is lit up beside auto there? That means it's automatically going to run on hydro. If I don't have hydro, so let's say we've lost power somehow, or a breaker's kicked, or I've just pulled out going down the road, it's automatically going to flip over to gas. Okay? If for some reason you want to force it to gas, you can push this button, and that forces it to go to gas. I can't really think of a reason why you do that. Most customers always leave their fridge on auto, so if you have hydro, it uses it, otherwise it'll use gas. So that's what most people do, so that's what I suggest you do. But if you want to push it to gas for some reason, you're trying to save hydro for something else, I'm not sure, you can force it to go to gas. And otherwise you just have the fridge on or off. Okay? Guess what? If the fridge is off, the light in the fridge doesn't work. Okay, so you have to have the fridge on for the light to work. Great. So that was the inside, guys. I hope that video wasn't too boring for you. I hope it was useful. Happy camping. Thanks for tuning in. Have yourself a good day.